Maxing out skill categories is one of my favorite parts of Durango, but since you can only get around a fourth of the skills in the game, you will eventually have to choose which ones you want to specialize in. So today, Nexon has sponsored me to teach you everything you need to know about the different specializations. If you get to level 60 in all 12 skill categories and you complete every career guide offered by Dr. Lamar, then you can get a total of 930 skill points. But the problem lies in the fact that the skill point cost of all the skills in the game totals at 3,223, meaning that you can only get 29% of them at any one time. As I mentioned in my tips and tricks video for this game, you can unlearn 5 skills every day for free, which is important for completing the career guides, but this process can take you a very long time. So it is important to know how many skill points each category costs and come up with a game plan for what skills you want to end up with. The first category is survival, which would cost 131 skill points to max out all of its skills. This category levels up automatically because it doesn't require extra research, which makes you advance in it quickly. The most popular sub-skill in this category is Taming Animals, which will cost 53 points to max out. If you'd like to know more about capturing and taming pets, make sure to check out my video that covers everything on the subject. The other subcategory allows you to increase your exploration abilities, increase your stealth, which lowers the chance of animals attacking you, and increase your max energy. I would not recommend increasing your stealth unless you have a high specialization in gathering, and I would recommend everyone putting at least a few points into increasing your energy, especially if you do a lot of combat. The second category is gathering, which would cost 273 skill points to max out all of its skills. Everyone should have some skill points in gathering so that they can help their clans gather the most needed resources. In addition to that, every clan should have at least 2 players that have high specializations in this category. If you don't understand why that would be necessary, make sure to check out my video that explains everything about clans. The third category is butchering, which would cost 99 skill points to max out all of its skills. Butchering is very similar to gathering, except you only use butchering skills on animals that you kill. So if you're planning to specialize in butchering, I would recommend choosing a weapon specialization that is particularly good against fighting animals. I will talk a little bit more about this in my next video. It is also important for a clan to have 2 players specialized in this category because bones and leather are particularly important for weapon crafting and tailoring. The fourth category is processing, which would take 153 skill points to max out all of its skills. Processing serves as a bridge between the resource specializations and the advanced crafting specializations by taking those raw materials and turning them into something that can be utilized in advanced crafting. Technically, a clan only needs 1 highly specialized processor, but if they only have one, it should be one that is very active because they will be needed almost constantly. The fifth category is weapon and tool crafting. This is the best category for making money on the island market, but you still have to choose where you want to put your points wisely, because otherwise it would cost 422 skill points to max out this category. By specializing, you can make over 100,000 T-stones by selling one of the best items in the game. That being said, I've made over 100,000 T-stones in a day by just making simple tools. People buy them to complete quests, and they don't require a lot of materials, so you can make a lot of money doing this. In order to make the best weapons in the game, you will need to use people with the other specializations, but I'll talk more about that in my next video. The sixth category is tailoring, which would cost 373 skill points to max out. Tailoring isn't quite as lucrative as weapon crafting, but tailors are also more rare in the game. This increases your chances of your items selling, so it is a viable option for making money, but if you want to do this and try to make as much money as a weapon crafter, it is important to keep a constant stream of items on the market. The seventh category is construction, which costs 413 skill points to max out. It is extremely important for a clan to have at least 1 player, preferably a chieftain or elder, highly specialized in this category because building higher level workbenches and other items are critical for allowing all the other skill specializations to do their job. If you do not specialize in construction, it would be very smart of you to become friends with someone who is. By inviting them onto your island, you can allow them to start and finish buildings for you that you could not craft yourself. This is not too much of a burden for them as long as you do the work of filling it with the required resources. The eighth category is cooking, which requires 313 skill points total. It is very important for a clan to have a couple of good cooks. However, cooking is one of the most complex and difficult specializations in the game. There are hundreds of recipes, and each recipe has different versions based on quality. The higher the quality, the better the buffs. In fact, there are specific recipes that have special buffs for each of the skill specializations. For example, onion pizza is great for players who have a high specialization in the gathering category. To learn more about the different recipes and which dishes have the best buffs, make sure to check out my video explaining everything about cooking. Keep in mind this category does not make much money on the market because most of the serious players that would even look for good food on the market are also in good clans that are able to provide high quality food for their members. The 9th category is farming, which only requires 186 skill points to max out. This skill is really important to someone who has the cooking specialization, so most of the time if someone specializes in one of these, they also specialize in the other. But just like gatherers and processors, there are clans that have dedicated farmers and dedicated cooks working together so that one person doesn't have to specialize in both of them. The 10th category is defense, which requires 211 skill points to max out. This category is important for all players that engage in combat, but most players just get the basic skills in evasion, which are important and even more important to master, but if you are going to play the role of a tank, then you will need to master the ability to parry and counterattack. The 11th category is melee, which most players will have some skill points attributed in this area. But just like weapon crafting, it is important to specialize within this category because to max out the entire category would cost a total of 435 skill points. In order to know which weapons to specialize in, it is important to know the strengths and weaknesses of each weapon, so my next video on this game will be an overview on every single weapon and what they do best. In that video, I will also cover the 12th category called ranged, which requires 214 skill points to max out. So if you want to know all about the different weapons and what they are best for, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. Well, that's it guys, hope that helps. Almost all of the help I got making this video was from the YouTuber named Frost. Frost's channel is in French, so it might not be the best place if you are a beginner, but Frost is a pro player, so if you like watching gameplay videos, then I would definitely recommend checking out his channel. I put a link to his channel in the pinned post of this video. Also, this video was sponsored by Nexon. If you liked it, please thank Nexon for hiring me to do it. This game is incredible, and I would love to continue to grow that relationship. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.